No campaign has travelled to the Deputy Prime Minister's seat of Corio to speak with local voters about the Voice to Parliament referendum. Victorian political reporter Simon Love is in Geelong. So Simon, you're in the regional centre. What's happening there today?
Well, Tom, in this Geelong West Town Hall tonight will be a no campaign forum. It's hosted by Senator Sarah Henderson, and also speaking at it will be a prominent no campaigner, Warren Mundine. Now, both Senator Henderson and Mr Mundine have been walking the streets of Geelong West in the past hour or so, trying to speak to locals as they talk about their stance on the Indigenous Voice to Parliament. Now, Warren Mundine has been travelling right around the country throughout this campaign, and particularly as pressure grows on the Prime Minister and Labor to frame this question, this debate, as not a Labor versus Liberal contest, but certainly a yes versus no contest. Mr Mundine believes that voters will have it in their right minds, he says, to consider the merits carefully of the no campaign.
It's about yes and no, and we're proving it. By going to people, we're having this conversation with people, we're encouraging the other people to talk to the yes campaign and listen to what they got to say, listen to what we got to say and make up their own mind.
Tonight's event comes just days after the Minister for Indigenous Australians, Linda Burney, as well as the Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles, hosted a similar forum that was organised by the Yes campaign. That was here in the seat of Corio. It was attended by hundreds of people on Saturday. And at that event, Linda Burney declared Geelong as yes for the Voice. But Senator Sarah Henderson and Mr Mundine say not so fast.
We want to have that conversation. We aren't as arrogant as Richard Marles or Libby Coker or Linda Burney to say that all of Geelong backs the referendum. That's clearly quite false.
Simon, Warren Mundine has revealed Qantas' stance on the Voice to Parliament has changed his campaign plans.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. You can see Warren right behind me preparing for the forum. But something interesting that Mr Mundine revealed to me a short time ago is that after Qantas came out earlier in the week alongside the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, in support of the Yes campaign, with the Yes signage to be displayed on some of Qantas's iconic jumbo jets, that Mr Mundine had to change some of his travel plans in terms of flying around the country. He had flights booked with Qantas to go to different events in support of his campaign in different capital cities, and he says that he's now to change all those bookings over to another carrier.
It has actually. I've now had to shift my travels to Virgin, and had a conversation with Virgin, and we're pretty happy with that arrangement. You know,
what did they? So did they say they have a position on the referendum?
They're not going to put it. They haven't got any yes stuff all over their planes or their staff. You know, the problem that Qantas is doing is that they're actually going against 50% of the Australian population, and their customers. And I'm sure a lot of their staff are going to be voting no as well.
So amid this very important debate about the merits of an Indigenous voice to Parliament and the merits of both sides of the campaign as Australians go to the polls later in the year to vote, it seems that this whole Voice campaign is certainly having some form of impact, at least on Mr Mundine.